I'd like to acknowledge my presence on the Coast Salish territory. When recently up north with Caleb on a hunting trip, filming for Fractured Land, I spent quite a bit of time with an elder named Richard. After participating in Richard's sweat lodge, he told me these stories, these prophecies for the future, about holes in the earth and flooding and crazy earthquakes down south. And I asked Richard what we can do to prevent or stop this from happening. And he had 3 solutions: prepare, pray, and young people. Now, I don't know anything about canning, and I'm not the appropriate person to give you a talk on prayer, but I would like to talk to you about young people. Currently, there are about 3.5 billion young people around the world, so basically almost half the world is under 35. I would like to talk to you today about the current generation of young people and how we have the potential to fundamentally shift the way we look at public participation. I've broken this down into 4 areas. So the first is civic engagement, intergenerational dialogue, optimism, and creative expression. Gen Y, included in the title of my talk, refers to Gen Y Media, which is a youth-led production group that collaborates across disciplines to create media, public art, events, intergenerational dialogues, and workshops that aim to foster civic engagement amongst young people. We see civic engagement as a way in which people understand and express their role in society. The role of Gen Y is to create a culture around civic engagement. We want to make it fun, interesting, and inspiring. Okay, so we made this video with footage from our very first documentary called Generation Y. So it kind of exposes the aesthetic of the project.
Midnight creeps on the porch tonight. Neon eyelids lift me up to the sky. Our hearts are cagey, but we're not wasting time. Your hands are shaking as you put them in mine. Protect yourself from your tears, so I'm told. The callous lover is remarkably bold, adaptable to perpetual change, invincible to a setback of pain.
In our work, we're constantly being asked about apathy, either apathy or youth unemployment. This is Kai Nagata, who recently wrote an article entitled "Why I Quit My Job." So this article went viral within days after its release. Kai worked as bureau chief for the CPD, and he quit his job because it was stealing his soul to work within a system mandated around profit, appearance, and ideology. I was so inspired by this article that I approached, connected with Kai over Facebook, and I told him about this talk, and I asked him if he had one message for young people, what would this be? And his response does a great job at addressing apathy, so I want to share with you. We get told a lot that we're apathetic and selfish. The evidence that we're apathetic is that we don't vote. The evidence that we're selfish is that we yearn for something better, so we focus on personal development or keep on the move instead of staying in the same company for 20 or 30 or 45 years. I think what makes us apathetic is actually fear. It's fear of real pain, emotional pain. Because all evidence would seem to suggest that no matter how much you invest and how much you believe, things keep getting worse. It's like knowing you're going to get dumped. Why would you bother falling in love? So I believe the only way out of apathy is for each of us to find freedom from our fear. To do that, you have to fully experience your pain and endure real suffering. That takes courage. You get the courage from the people who love you. And that's when you stop feeling selfish. Never lose sight of the truth. We have everything we need to get from here to there already inside of us. This is Bridget DePapp, the page who recently held the Stop Harper sign up in the drone speech. And an article I read by Bridget, he expressed how young people, they are engaged and they do care, but it's tough because society tells us the standard story that change is made only by politicians. These politicians and political parties don't really understand how to engage young people. Their campaigns don't target young people, and the issues that they're concerned with are not necessarily the issues that young people actually care about. What Bridget and Kai have in common is a new style of civic engagement, one that is bolder, more creative, and more profound. It's much different than holding up a sign in a protest or signing an online petition. Bridget and Kai have put their jobs on the line and have changed their lives for the benefit of others. A mentor of mine, Judy Rebick, she's the founder of Rabble.ca, and she's a feminist and political activist extraordinaire. She recently said that the change, ideas, and energy will come from young people. It always has. One of the important tasks ahead is to recognize what from the past is helping us and what is holding us back. Judy has helped to inspire my next theme, intergenerational dialogue. So, as technology and globalization speed forward, the generations have become a bit disconnected. I see the boomers as the influencers, folks who carry the expertise, and the Yers as innovators and idealists. And the Xers are kind of the bridge, and they hold their own special expertise. And what happens when experience and idealism come together is it creates informed optimism, which is very powerful. At Gen Y Media, we're working on an intergenerational dialogue series called Bring Your Boomers. So I wanted to show you a clip of our last event. So this is Lee Christie. He's the founder of EAT-Art, which stands for Energy Runs Through Art, and he's speaking with Ken Lum, who is a local artist in Vancouver, and who's actually in the art gallery right now, so two artists.
You're seeing people going out and doing this sort of blue ocean-like strategy behavior, where they're, rather than fight in the red ocean of war and bloodlust, it's like, no, let's go do something new. And you're seeing that in the media arts in particular, where people are, there's a mass push towards newness and novelty. And you can search very quickly on the internet to see if what you're doing has been done before. This great exploration truly is like a pushing of the uttermost boundary. And this is true for the arts, it's true for technology, and it's an amazing phenomenon. And people are enabled to do that in part by social media and the internet. And so if you have someone who's, in fact, we're seeing it with our generation right now. You're seeing, like, I remember a time feeling so frustrated reading like Adbusters and wanting to like grab Molotov cocktails and like stop the WTO. And like, I can remember getting so frustrated, feeling like a pipsqueak that no one would listen to, you know, in the late 90s. And looking at it now, it's unreal how much power that our generation has. It's unbelievable. Like, collectively, the voices are, it's the loudest thing I've ever observed. And that's what we're seeing going on, right? That's what's happening, and that's a beautiful thing, I think.
Well, I don't want to dispel your sense of hope, right? but like Adbusters, right? Which I like it. I think it's very clever, and so it can be quite effective, I suppose. A lot of
I'd say people moved on from that.
Right? No, but a lot of people.
And then it goes on. It's pretty funny. So Lee's actually a perfect segue into optimism. This is one of my favorite quotes describing optimism. If you look at the science that describes what is happening on Earth today and aren't pessimistic, you don't have the correct data. If you meet the people in this unnamed movement and aren't optimistic, you haven't got a heart. Paul Hawkins, less than that. Anyone who's ever done anything great, anything important, was optimistic. Nelson Mandela, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Steve Jobs, this guy, who I'll talk about next. So with Jack, you can see how optimism has affected Canadians. He said, to young people, addressing young people, I believe in you. Your energy, your vision, your passion for justice is exactly what this country needs today. You need to be at the heart of our economy, our political life, and our plans for the present and the future. So, you see, when young people are believed in, it's kind of like molecular energy jumping across atoms. Oftentimes it happens online. So, with Jack, everyone's Facebook photos started going orange, and Jack Layton was trending on Twitter. But more importantly, it gives us strength. It gives us tremendous strength. I find it useful to reflect on what people are doing in other countries. So in Chile, young people had a kissing protest alongside a hunger strike, aiming to reform the country's education system. These acts are not only optimistic, they're actually hugely creative. Yes, this is my final theme, creative expression. I believe there is a creative human being in every one of us. And there has never been a more important time to express mass creative expression. In order to reimagine and rebuild our world, we need to try new things. I see people acting creatively when they see a need for something, and they create something to meet that need. So, for example, my good friend Steve Anderson created openmedia.ca because he saw how internet freedoms were being eroded, and he believes that the most important thing is our ability to connect, our human connection. Since its creation, Open Media has launched the biggest internet campaign in Canadian history. Well, maybe human history. It's important to remember that creative expression doesn't only manifest itself in the arts. People act creatively in politics, in business, in city planning, in local food culture, economics, green technology. At Gen Y Media, we're almost always working on a collaborative public art project. So our last public art project is called Regenerate, and we made it for Maker Fair in Vancouver this summer, and we collaborated with Eat Art, again, Energy Awareness Through Art, Vancouver Design Nerds, and Vancouver Collab. And Eat Art, we basically built this word out of recycled, refurbished materials and greenery. So I wanted to show you a time lapse of it being built. Well, there's two time lapses, courtesy of Vancouver. Ancient minds such as Pythagoras and Galileo, who are outcasts because they thought that the world was a sphere and rotated on its own axis. And later, they became heroes and icons. And I like to imagine in 100 years' time how people like Caleb Bain, Kinder Christopher, suggest you look up, Bridget DePape, Steve Anderson, Kai Nagata, these people will be the heroes of our world. While lobby groups and greedy governments, they'll be the nonsensicals and the corrupt bodies of the past. The dream of Gen Y is to have civic engagement, intergenerational dialogue, optimism, and creative expression woven into the fabric of our everyday life. Let's use our positivity, our creativity, and our new ways of doing things to inspire a new world for future generations. Together, let's create, let's participate, and let's share.